Yo, what's going on, guys? DJ Hess here. Wanted to bring you guys a recap for Game of Thrones Season 4, Episode 2. It was called The Lion and the Rose, and this episode was absolutely crazy. They did not hold anything back from the beginning of this season. Really, this episode was extremely action-packed. Definitely a dope episode. But let's go ahead and get into it. There's a whole bunch of things to cover, and the biggest news, major spoiler alert, is that Joffrey has been killed. So I'll get into that in a little bit. I'll give you guys a little bit of a recap of all the kind of the other things first, and then we'll get into that at the very end. But it's definitely the most important, obviously, out of this entire episode. So at Dreadfort, which is the place where Ramsay Snow is. If you didn't know who that is, it's the dude that's crazy, and he's basically torturing Theon Greyjoy, which he renames as Reek because he smells like doo-doo. Also, he ripped off his wiener, and now the dude it cannot produce, thus ending the line of of his family. So it's kind of crazy. Like you saw, like previously last season, he was getting tortured a lot. Now you see kind of an update. He's walking around. His wounds have kind of healed a little bit, but he's like a completely brainwashed slave to Ramsay Snow, who is also like a bastard child from what I gather. Anyway, it gets to the point where Ramsay's dad actually ends up making it to Dreadfort, and then he says, "I want to see the Theon dude," and he didn't realize that his crazy son tortured the crap out of him and cut off his dingling, and all of a sudden, his dad was like super pissed at him because he was like, "We really needed this guy for trade bait, more or less, or I mean something to that effect." But they needed him whole and in way better condition than what his son left him in. So he was pretty pissed about that. But then all of a sudden they're talking to him and stuff, and he shows like his dad how loyal this new Reek character now is to him, and he basically has him shave his face with a razor and stuff, and the whole time it's like focusing in. It's kind of an intense moment because you're thinking, oh god, like this guy like can finally get his revenge. He can slice this dude's throat, but he just doesn't do it. He just shaves his face, and then his dad was asking him about the Stark boys. There's two different ones that was supposedly hung by Theon Greyjoy and burned, and he basically tells him nope, that didn't happen. It was just two random kids, and the two Stark boys are actually alive. So the dad sends out one of his dudes to go try to kill the two, or find the two boys and actually kill him. Or bring him to him. I can't remember if it was kill or bring him to him. But regardless, he's on a hunt for him, and he knows that they're alive now. And then Reek is told that his brother Robb Stark is actually dead as well, and you can see the pain in his eyes from hearing that. But he basically just keeps on shaving away, and he's totally like helpless. It doesn't make any sense because he seems. I mean, I guess the guy really did brainwash him or just get him so trained to be the slave type that's what he's doing. But it's crazy because you think that it would have been the perfect moment for him to get his revenge, but he holds off, and that's kind of what ends there. As a reward, Ramsay Snow will be considered to be a true Bolten, so he won't be the bastard son, I guess, that he was previously. So interesting enough from there. That's kind of a recap of Dreadfort. Moving on to Beyond the Wall, there was kind of a scene with Bran that was interesting. Bran is hunting through the wolf eyes, and basically is killing animals as a wolf and running around, and I think he enjoys it because he's able to run, and it's exciting for him to be able to do sort of that sort of stuff. And then Hodor wakes him up, and he's like Hodor. I love Hodor, he's awesome. And Hodor is like wakes him up, and then Bran's like, oh, I was hungry, and so I mean he was eating things in his sleep, but it didn't obviously transition to him actually getting food. Anyway, they run into a heart tree, I guess is what it's called, and he goes into vision mode, and he basically sees the three-eyed raven again, and then it kind of is like a montage of I don't know if it was past and future memories or visions or something like that. And then all of a sudden he goes, I know where we have to go. And I'm like, holy crap, like what did we just see? I honestly don't know what we saw and where that necessarily leads to. But that's, I guess, for us to find out soon. And that's kind of it Beyond the Wall. Also, there's a little bit of a session at Dragonstone with Stannis Baratheon, and he basically burns a bunch of people at the stake, including his wife's like brother. and I believe it's his wife's brother, because they're not following the new gods. This is kind of some like burning witches at the, like, you know, at the stake sort of thing, but burning people that are believing God, or the 7 gods or whatever, and not the 2 that they're telling them to believe in, which is the crazy red-haired lady, which I think is probably the hottest chick in the show, to be quite honest. Like, she's crazy. I told that to my wife. I was like, which is the hottest chick to you? And she's like, the dragon chick. And I was like, she's like, which one's to you? And I'm like, the red-haired chick with nice boobies. And she's like, really? She's like, you're weird. And because, like, her character, you want to hate her. But I think she's good looking. Anyway, she's crazy, and that ends up happening. And then she ends up talking to the little scaled face kid of Stannis, and basically trying to let her know that they burned her uncle on the stake because, like, I don't know, he believes in their own god, more or less. So kind of interesting. Anyway, let's go to the point that we really want to talk about, and that's King's Landing, and that's the royal wedding. And you get the little bastard, and Joffrey is at this point where he's at the absolute low point in the show, and he's saying just ridiculous things, and he's basically making like his uncle Tyrion Lannister, like, he goes over to him and pours like wine on his head, and he's basically just calling him out the entire time, just being horrible to him, making him fetch him wine and all these things. And then all of a sudden Joffrey ends up being poisoned and keels over and dies. But it was the most epic like death scene, because his face was all jacked up, he's bleeding from the nose, his eyes are all messed up. Like, it was a dope scene, really well done. And if you're into that sort of thing, Cersei's his mom's boobies are like popping out and stuff on like over top of him. It was kind of funny, but she was a rager. Like, she was going crazy. She was really pissed, obviously, that has happened. But because of the like events that took place, it really made it look like Tyrion Lannister was the one that poisoned him, because he basically had the wine, and he was feeding the wine to the king or whatever, and then all of a sudden he ends up dying. Now, the king was also, Joffrey was also eating some nice slice of pie, and that was weird because he cut open the thing, and doves, the huge ginormous pie, and doves came flying out, and there's a bunch of dead ones inside because he cut it open with his new Valyrian steel blade, which he named something. I don't even remember the name of it. I should have told that to you guys. But anyway, he names it some weird name. And basically he's eating pie and drinking some wine, and you don't know. It's like a who's who done it mystery. Who killed Joffrey? I mean, they're kind of, it's obvious, like, a lot of people hate him, so it's really easy to think that, like, I mean, X, Y, or Z people killed him. But there was Stark's daughter, like, was talking to a guy at the very end, like right after it happened, and right when it was starting to happen, he's like, Sansa, we have to go, it's not safe here. And he ends up, not Sansa, was it Sansa? I think it is Sansa. He ends up taking her away, and then, what's his name? Tywin Lannister is just sitting there, and everybody's kind of blaming him, including his sister, Cersei, and it just ends up being one of these scenes. And then there's that guy from the previous episode that comes into the town that wants his revenge on the Stark family, or not the Stark family, the Lannister family, and he came in place of his brother, and he's kind of sitting there in the crowd. It kind of pans over to his eyes a little bit. You're wondering if he like planned this thing, and I'm just showing you guys some other just random gameplay here, throwing it in over top of the commentary. But it's kind of an interesting like whodunit sort of mystery of, and then it just ends like that with the little Joffrey bastard in Cersei's lap, and she's obviously freaking out, and it's just. But it also is like, so that's great, he ends up dying, but now all of a sudden it's like, who is going to be the king? Because technically they were wed, and so Marjorie or whatever is the queen. So does that mean she has rights to it, or was it so new and fresh? Obviously Jeffrey's like mom is going to be really trying to make it, look at that fail right there with that javelin. It's pretty awesome. Trying to make it so that she doesn't lose the crown area or whatever. Maybe the younger son will try to get it or something. But it's definitely a crazy like turn of events. I didn't expect it to happen. The whole time you're watching like the episode, you're just like, dude, somebody needs to just kill Joffrey. And it's also one of these things, like, obviously after last season, the second to last episode with the Red Wedding, like, that was crazy. And it's interesting to see, like, this happen at another wedding. Like, it seems like weddings are just not the place to attend, because there's a chance that you or somebody can die. I don't know, like, especially after the, you know, the Red Wedding again. It just really, really wild. But I'm so excited that the little bugger is dead. I hated Joffrey. My wife hated Joffrey too. Everybody hated Joffrey. He's just a little shit. And I love the way that they led up to it, because they make it so you really don't like the kid. Like, he's just an evil, horrible kid, and you just want to hope that he ends up dying. And then all of a sudden he does, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, you can't believe it happened. It was epic. Also, in that episode, there is some Sir Loras, I believe, which is the Marjorie's brother, who's the gay mode boy, and him and Jaime Lannister talk about Cersei, because he's supposed to be marrying Cersei down the road, and Jaime Lannister's like, if you don't marry her, you can't marry her. She'll kill you, basically, or kill you and any kids if you have them. And look at that, I stuck that Juggernaut. I didn't kill him. Anyway, so and then he said, well, he's like, yeah, you can't marry her. And then he tells Jaime back, he's like, you can't marry her either, basically, signifying that he knows that he's in love with her. Also, there's another section where Brienne, which is the really big old lady, that's a super badass fighter chick, who was with Jaime Lannister the entire time when he got his hand cut off and everything. She basically said that Jaime Lannister saved her, and Cersei was like basically like accusing her of loving Jaime Lannister, which to me I was like, what? I thought she was like a lesbian the whole time. Oh, look at this guy was right next to me. I didn't even see him. I was thinking the whole time, I'm like, wait, I thought she was a lesbian. There's no, why would she want to like fall in love with a dude? But apparently, I guess she did, and it makes sense. Like, if you really think about it, because they went through a lot of crazy things together. She's a badass though. But I don't know, dudes. What do you guys think about the episode? Like, I don't know where things are gonna go from here, and if you guys know ahead of time from reading the book, please don't leave any spoiler comments for the future episodes, because that would be horrible. I wouldn't mind figuring this out like by myself, but unfortunately this is kind of a difficult thing, because they lead it up, and usually the way these things work is you assume it's going to be X, Y, or Z people that like off the king, and then it ends up being somebody else that you don't really even know was around. But I just think that there's a lot of things that are going to end up happening from this point. It lets you kind of see that Cersei's like losing it. She's kind of going crazy. She's hating everybody. There was also a point where Marjorie basically says all the leftovers, Joffrey says all the leftovers will go ahead and feed all of the poorest people in the city or in the area or whatever. And then Cersei basically goes, no, bitch. she tells the dude that was in charge of it, says, nope, you'll basically be killed if you do that. Make sure that all the extra food goes and feeds the dogs and shit. So kind of, she just really crooked. And it's funny because there was points in the last couple seasons where you just feel sorry for her. Like, you just feel bad for her, and you start to shift a little bit. Now it's coming back to the point where you're like, she's going to be a relentless bitch and want revenge for her ungrateful little bastard son, and it's just going to get kind of crazy. Also, I mean, it's funny because the show really makes it so you love and hate characters the entire time, and it really helps you determine which way it wants you to steer. So, like, Jaime Lannister, another one, you hated him, hated him, and now you kind of feel sorry for him and you like him. He's not a horrible person. Look at this little camper guy right there, awesome move. And also Reek is another one. Like, you feel bad for him. He's been tortured. He's in kind of a bad spot right now. But also, he killed the two random little kids, and he beheaded some guy. Like, horribly done, but he beheaded some dude earlier in last season and stuff. So there's a lot of times where you just, I don't know, people are horrible. Look at this fail jump. People are horrible, and you feel bad. And then there's people that are good, and I think that's why this episode is excellent, because we get a little bit of a victory here. The fact that Joffrey's gone, we don't know what's going to happen next, but the fact that he's gone makes life a whole lot better. And this gameplay is really, really clutch. Check out the ending right here, 199, and we ended up just winning this thing barely by like 2 points. Anyway, that's pretty much all we got for this recap. Hope you guys like this series. I'm going to continue doing it through this season. Just kind of recapping the episodes, having fun watching the show. This was an objective gameplay. Obviously, as you can see, I didn't do very well. But we won the game. Anyway, have a good one, guys. We'll catch you guys for some more videos later. Peace.